All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm sitting on my hands. I don't want to repeat it last week.
Yeah, look, I think it's for the best. I mean, that was a wild first 30 seconds of the episode.
Turns out I'm a malleable little man-child.
Look,
You said it and I just went, okay.
When I watched it back, I literally go, oh, well, you haven't done the salute yet.
And I went, what, this one?
Yeah.
And then did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not good.
But look, if you were to believe the right wing, it's more common than you think. They like to...
I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally going to round up thousands of people and send them to Guantanamo, apparently.
Yeah.
Do you know
Full
what I
on
mean?
concentration camp style.
Oh, we can't, they're not Nazis. They're not
They
Nazis.
just do the salute, follow the policies,
You know what I mean?
use all the same
Idolise
words,
the iconography and the person who led them, but,
have all the same ideologies, but they are not.
the same quotes. Like, do you remember years ago we talked about the fact, like, you read out a load of quotes that they read to the public and were like, what do you think of these quotes? And it was like, yeah, they're good. And it was like, Donald Trump said them. Oh, yeah, so did Hitler.
Yeah. Well, I also remember that, like, it's just there's certain labels that we can't use. So I remember that we did a thing a while back. I think we spoke about it, where they did a study on sort of socialism and communism.
Okay.
And they picked some communist policies, like not extreme communist policies, but just some sort of like communism light.
Yeah, the basics.
Read them to people just as regular policies, and even framed them, as this is a conservative policy, this is a Labour policy, just to try and gauge the reaction. And people on both sides of the political spectrum were quite open to them.
Yeah.
As soon as you went, this comes from the Communist Manifesto, everyone was like, no, absolutely not.
It's where, like...
It's the same as the Nazi thing. If you call these people Nazis, they reject because they know Nazi is a bad thing. And yet, if you take away the word Nazi and just read the Nazi ideology or the Nazi playbook as they're now reenacting, they go, yeah, all on board. And then you go, oh, right, but that is actually a Nazi thing. And they're like, no, I don't think it is because I like that and the Nazis are bad.
Were called the National Socialist Party.
Quite deliberately.
And those two words on their own don't sound like when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I thought.
No, do you know what I love about that is that people now will go, the Nazis were socialists. They really weren't. They go, they were called they had socialism in their name, and you're like, yeah, well, the fucking Democratic People's Republic of China has the democratic
So
in their name. Do you know what I mean? Like, shit.
And like, what was the other one? I just thought something. Oh, it's fucking gone. I hate when that happens.
I've always said if anywhere has a Democratic Republic in their name, it's not a republic or a democratic society.
I was going to say the Reform Party don't want to reform shit.
No.
So, yeah.
It's
and
just
Labour don't represent the Labour anymore, so
they really they're shunning them.
Although I think it might be slightly like they are trying to put through the Employment Right Bill, which is basically just giving back workers' rights that existed before the Tories got it.
Yeah.
So it's not even anything new. They're just like, yeah, you lost these things under the Tories.
Yeah, maybe maternity pay, maybe maternity leave hasn't gone too far.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not something we need to.
Look, she's got some radical ideas. You know, she's a peacock. You just got.
Well, it's interesting. We spoke about this the other day, but the most recent PMQs before this episode aired, she came out and said your ideas are anti-growth, they're shit, they're rubbish, and they're all ours. And you're like, well, hang on, I'm so confused. What are you going for here? Are they your ideas, or are they shit ideas, or are they both?
Or is she just admitting?
And you're just publicly saying,
yeah. I think she's accidentally.
I can't believe you copied ours. Ours was shit. What are you thinking?
But we're not offering anything different either, by the way.
No, we're still going with them, but at least we acknowledge their shit now. Very odd. Very, very odd behaviour.
We say it almost every week now.
I'll tell you what, the next 4 years...
It's going to be a bumpy ride!
Yeah. I stand by it.
Lenny Henry's right.
I stand by it. They just... Yeah, whatever, anyway.
But we say it almost every week. Logic has left the room. Do you know, Logic left the room probably when the Brexit vote went through, really. I think that's when it all started to go downhill, really. And like we're in a situation now where like everyone's saying like, look, they've even created a light European customs market that you could get involved with. It's not as good as the full one, but there's loads of economic benefits. And we're like, Yeah, but people don't like Europe, so we just...
But they do, if you read the polls.
Yeah, but like that's not what the papers are saying, so that's what the
No,
politicians
you're right,
are
but
listening
if you read all the polls, that we're far more in support of a closer tie with our
Isn't
European
it like
allies.
60% are now for a
rejoin
closer
it.
relation?
Well, yeah, but it's even higher than that for just want a close relation when compared with America.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at America and it's like, no, they are properly going down the
only
fascist
thing
route.
we have to offer America is NHS, and we don't want to offer that up. So,
well, we don't, but we know someone who does.
Yeah. But yeah, logic left the room, and there's not a lot we can do about it.
Can I talk to you a little bit about a story that maybe defies logic, throws logic out the window? It's a fun little story.
I love no logic.
Well, also, it's quite... Sorry, I'm going to take a few more breaths than normal, which is...
Because you're a bit poorly.
People are probably going to be quite...
The
they're going to be quite happy. They think he might talk less. This might be a good episode.
I was about to say you had man flu, but I really fucking hate it when people say that.
No, but do you know what? Like, on my last trip, there was something horrendous ripping through the coach. I mean, me trying to get...
Was it just you?
Like, me... Yeah,
was it the driver? So it was the driver,
It was the driver. Fuck me, that guy. But me trying to get up, everyone would be like, how is everyone? Come on, let's go and smash it. Let's have a good day. Whilst half the coach is dying was a tough call.
In like really cold places like Ireland and Scotland.
Well, do you know what? Ireland was probably the warmest place we went to.
Wow. Well, you literally got out just in time as well, didn't you? Like that.
Yeah, before the storm Eowyn.
Eowyn.
Isn't
that a character from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. But it was horrendous. And I literally had a couple of days on the trip where I had a little bit of a cough.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I've got off lightly.
And then
came back from the trip, did the first day back, I just went hell for leather like I normally do. And then the Saturday I just did nothing. And it was the first day I'd done nothing in about 2 months.
Yeah.
And so, Sunday I went to Palace. And so I managed to hold it off a bit, but I was really feeling it.
Yeah.
Monday, I was like fucking picture of death. Tuesday as well. Yesterday was really bad, but not as... I would say Tuesday was the peak. So today, like, you see me and I look fine. I sound mostly fine. Few breaths here and there, but like, oh my God, compared to the last couple of days. Fuck.
Yeah, it's normally the way though. When I last went Lindsay's, I was ill literally the evening we got there.
Because it's the first day you've done nothing, yeah.
And you're just like, this isn't fair, man.
No,
I've been looking
and that's why when you have
a year.
When you book a holiday off, that's what happens. You work till the last minute,
because
you don't want to waste your holiday, and then you're ill.
Yeah. See, now technically, you're allowed to, if you get like a doctor's note, you can claim the holiday back.
For what though? What's the extent that you can go up to?
I'm not sure. I'd have to check the law on it, but I know you are allowed. I think you can claim like at least a week. Like if you booked a week off.
You seen that twat David O'Leary, by the way, coming out this week?
David O'Leary?
The CEO of Ryanair.
Oh yeah.
When he's like, and his whole thing was because there's basically going to put a tax on flights, on economy, and then on business it's going to be a different rate, and it works out to about £2 a flight. You're basically going to be paying £2 more a flight.
Yeah.
On economy. And he was like, they said that's 1%. What fucking shortfall height goes for £200? That's not 1%. That's what it's like. Yeah, mate, ignore the percentage. It's £2. Like, just get over yourself. But pertinent to the story I'm about to tell you, I didn't say that deliberately, but I'm bringing it full circle. Talk about the climate, and we talk about how we want to reduce our carbon footprint, reduce our outprint. And I read a story this week about a woman in Cornwall who was in a car accident back end of last year.
Okay.
No injuries or anything. Well, that's not true. She was
lost
injured.
Both her legs.
Yeah, she was. She is now paraplegic. But other than no,
she
she's not.
She wasn't injured.
No, right. She's not. She was injured, and that is relevant to the story. So she bought a new car, and the car was in Crewe, up in Manchester, up in the Greater Manchester area.
Yeah.
She was trying to work out how to get there. That was the most cost effective. She had to go, her and her partner, because her back, it's like a 6 and a bit hour drive, and she can't do that all in one go because of the accident. Her back's fucked it.
Lazy bitch.
So this is the route they took. They flew to Malaga for £19 a ticket each.
Okay.
Then for £35 each, they flew from Manchester. Then they still have money in the budget to stay at a Holiday Inn at the airport.
I wish we had a bullshit button, you know. Like, not bullshit that they did it. They
bullshit
didn't do
that's
it.
the situation.
Well, no, that they're claiming that saved her back. Like, how the fuck is all that?
No, it's got nothing to do with her back. The back's just
But
the reason.
I thought that's why she couldn't drive.
No, she can drive, but she can't do long stints driving because it will really start to fuck her back. That's why her partner had to go. That's the only reason her back's relevant. Is
But
because
wait,
could
they not just swap every couple of hours?
Yeah, that was their plan. She would do a stint and then her partner would take over, kind of thing.
But instead of doing that...
No, but to get there, they flew out to Malaga.
Yeah, I understand. Instead of doing the drive...
No, not drive, because they didn't have a car. That was the car they were going to collect.
Right, okay.
So instead of taking a train or an internal flight, it was more cost effective to go via Malaga. Because when you add it up...
Yeah, but how long did they spend doing that?
Well, what they did was they gave themselves a day.
How big was the difference? That's what I want to know.
Well, this is... you can add it up. Get your calculator app out.
Right, do it for me.
And I'll look up how much it cost.
You would have thought they'd include that in the story. So what did you say it was? It was 35.
So it was so 35 back to Manchester, 19 out.
Right, so far we have a cost of £54 per person.
Per person, right. And the Holiday Inn Express at Manchester Airport starts at £53 a night.
Okay.
So you've got to divide that between two, because that'll be per room.
So it'd be £80.50 each.
Right. That, when you compare it to the train ticket...
Go on, how much? I thought you were literally looking it up.
I can look it up.
You said you were looking it up.
I'll do it now. I was looking
up.
What
were you doing with your phone?
I was looking up Holiday Inn Express.
The same phone case as me.
No, I think you said this was the shit one.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. I thought you'd stolen my phone for a moment. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, no. Well, I know you are.
Is there a drum roll?
So let's just set it for Monday and let's go. Ready?
If it's insanely different, then I get it. Like if it's like 300 quid for the two of them to get a train to Manchester. And where were they travelling from?
Well, I don't know exactly, but it's somewhere in Cornwall.
Oh shit! No, that is a long journey, isn't it? To be fair, that is a long ass journey.
So it's an 8-hour train journey.
Shit.
So
it's probably how long's the flight? The
cheapest. Yeah. I mean, I know you've got check-in before, but they literally did a day out there. Gave themselves an afternoon down in the sun, and then went and stayed in the Holiday Inn. So the cheapest up to Crewe, I've just done it from St Ives, which is like a major place in Cornwall. So it's just a rough idea. The cheapest you can find is an 8-hour journey at £136.50 per person, one way.
So we got.
So they've saved 50 quid.
£50 each. Sorry.
Yeah. So straight off the bat, they've saved £50 each.
Wait, how much were the tickets again?
£136.50.
No, they've saved more than that, haven't they? So, sorry, tell me the price again.
What, of everything else?
No, of just the ticket.
£136.50.
Times 2. Right, so you got £273 minus... they saved over £100.
Yeah, so that's insane. We're talking about... Yeah,
and they got to go to Spain for the day, or for an
They gave themselves an afternoon out. We're talking about...
Yeah, I mean, like, look, you've obviously...
Trying to reduce our carbon footprint.
That is insane.
They've literally just saved £100 between them.
Yeah, I mean,
by taking 2 short-haul flights.
On food, I'd imagine, in that 24 hours, I would have thought.
By taking 2 short-haul flights and a hotel.
Yeah, that is mental.
Because it's cheaper than them.
I mean, it's probably worked out the same, which even that is mental.
Even that's insane.
That is insane.
Given how small our island is, one internal journey cost more.
Yeah, that's mental. But look, we talked about the railways before. The fact that the profit from most of our railways
boosts everyone else's
goes
railways.
To the railways around
Germany
Europe.
and Spain and whatever.
Yeah, you just they run really well. It's like, yeah, I'm sure they fucking do.
On my money.
Well, not my. To be honest, I barely get trains. It's only if I'm going like uptown or something.
Do you know why I barely get trains? I can't fucking afford it. Like, genuinely, particularly if there's 2 or more people, the most likely reason I have to travel long distance in this country is football.
And you just get a coach if you're doing that normally.
Well, I'll just drive. It's cheaper on petrol, and everything else involved, parking and all that, than it is to pay for a rail fare. I mean, even the most far away thing I can pick, if we go to like Newcastle, that's probably 2 tanks of petrol for me.
How much is that?
It's a good 60 quid. So that's 120 quid petrol.
It costs you 30 quid to fill your tank?
No, I meant 60 quid to fill the tank.
Oh, right. I was going to say 30 quid to fill your car. That's fucking good.
So it's about 120 quid. Yeah. So you split that between the two of you. 60 quid.
Yeah, but how much is the coach?
Oh, the coach is probably only 30 or 40 pounds, yeah, but it's a pain in the arse going up by.
Yeah, and I guess you got like yobbos on the coach with you.
We've gone, there's no account of who's on the coach.
Like, I remember once, I can't remember where we went.
Also, you have to go to the coach times.
Was it Manchester we fucking went to?
Oh, we missed the first half of the game.
Yeah, but we were also on a coach with a group of wankers sat right behind us.
HF in training.
Honestly, that's one of the worst days I've ever had. Just in terms
you're stuck there for like, it's a 4-hour journey to Manchester, and you're on there for a good 6.
Stop either. They weren't going to stop. And it was just like, no, look, we're going to fucking riot if you don't let us off this coach.
Yeah.
That was because it was a cup game and they used a different company. It was just a fucking shit show.
Yeah, no, the whole... I'm not a fan of it. Yeah. And also, you got to go by their times, which is like, you look at Bournemouth up to Newcastle, which I know is shit, but they did the lunchtime kickoff. Coach left at 2:30 in the morning. Obviously, you wouldn't be getting a lay-in, but you could leave later than that.
I love football as much as the next guy, but I do not love it. I would do anything for love, Jake. But I won't do that. No. I won't do that.
I've got full love and respect for the people that were making that journey.
Yeah, I also wonder where the people get the money from. Like every club seems to have a core of fans that goes up and down every home game, every away game. If they're in Europe, they're going to all the European games. And I do wonder, because most of these people they're not like middle class, rich. No,
but I think it's their only vice.
Yeah, but that's great. But where are they getting the money from? Do you know what I mean? It must just be debt, I'm assuming.
Don't know. Well, no, I think you could stretch your pennies to it, but you couldn't do much else.
I just find it, but they're all drinking, and do you know what I mean? And I just don't know how they do it. But yeah.
No, but it's 30 quid a ticket. Premier League prices are capped.
Yeah.
£30 coach, like we just said. 60 quid. You're only doing it maximum, realistically, twice a month. And there'll be months where you only have one away game because there'll be cup games, internationals. So you're probably spending...
Yeah, if you're driving,
200 quid a month, including all your...
I mean, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but you can stretch it if you don't do anything else.
I guess so. It's more like in today's society where there's just not a lot of money, like when everything's so expensive, it just seems... Yeah, I guess I've forgotten about the £30 cap.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a good thing it's there because home fans are being ripped off good and talking 60, 70 quid minimum for a ticket.
Did you hear that United fans signalled over Jim Ratcliffe at the end of their last game, and they made it look like they wanted an autograph, and then they just started having a go at him about ticket prices, and instead of saying anything, he just put his window up and drove off.
No, but I mean, I have...
Because they were like, what the fuck are we paying 60, 70
I appreciate they're not loyal fans and they are tourist fans, but sometimes I get passengers who come over and want to do Premier League games and they're paying minimum...
Oh, what, they want to do it on the trip?
Yeah, well, just before the trip or just after the trip.
Okay.
And they're paying
It's the reselling on that's the problem, isn't it?
They're paying minimum £90 for a ticket.
Yeah. Apparently, the market for Liverpool home games, for example, are just mental. The amount you'll end up paying if you want to see.
Yeah.
And now clubs are trying to stop people. I mean, I saw Steve Parish on a podcast the other day.
He always pops up when Palace start winning. He's fucking... No, I love the bloke. But he is radio silence when we go on a bad streak.
Doesn't that make sense, though? Because the fans are just... he gets dogs abuse no matter what.
No, and that's all good.
I've seen people we know giving him
but
dogs
now he's
abuse
gonna pop
today
up,
because
and
we
it's
haven't
going to be
enough players.
But he popped up on that podcast the other day, and it's like, Steve, mate, the window's still open.
Although
can you go and get
he
some
was
fucking
on it
players?
Seemed all right until I saw who else he was having on his podcast. I can't remember who it was, but there was some... people like George Galloway, and there was someone else. And as soon as I saw the other one, I was like, "Oh, you're one
do you know
of
what?
those
Speaking of really dodgy people, have you seen the latest with the formerly Right Honourable Calvin Robinson?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. But tell the listeners.
So for those who don't know, he's a fucking grifter of a man.
Isn't he? He literally was on GB News, wasn't he?
Yeah. He
was
had like a
He was a
segment.
GBBs.
He was buddied up and he went over to the Trump's inauguration and watched it in Kid Rock's hotel room with...
Can I just say I love his hair?
Not anymore. What he's cut his hair.
Oh, has he?
For a while now, yeah.
Oh,
for a
well,
while.
I loved his hair.
But he basically he spoke at a rally yesterday in America, and he said that Europe and the rest of the world is embracing death, and only America is embracing life, and it's all down to you people. And then he did a from the bottom of my heart salute.
Yeah.
And he literally called it. He said from the bottom of my heart as he did it, and had this little smile.
They're all trying to change.
And the crowd laughed, and the Anglican Church have now said, "No, see you later," and they've booted him. So they've like revoked his license to practice.
Yeah,
which is fair. You do a Nazi. It's so funny though to me that in America the narrative is very up for debate, but in Europe, even though there are debates happening, it's very clear and cut.
Like
we'll the Anglican Church,
but it was a Nazi.
The Anglican Church were like, that was a Nazi salute, you're out. When it gets circulated on the media outlets over here and in France and Germany and wherever else I've seen, I think it is only France and Germany actually I've seen clips from.
Yeah.
It's blurred out because we all know, as much as there are debates happening about it, we all know the answer is there. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And yet in America it's like, well, I don't know, you know.
The best comments I saw on it was probably from James O'Brien, who was like, you try doing it at the next parents' evening you go to.
And Ben Kentish said the same thing. Yeah.
Like, or when you're next at work, just in the middle of work.
So right now, just stand up
just
and
do it and see what happens, and you'll know what it is. I did see a clip of Joe Rogan. I'm always like iffy about talking about clips because I haven't seen the full context of the conversation.
Sometimes you don't need it.
No, but he was sort of talking about... he was like, well, we used to do it. He was like, the Americans, like apparently up until the Nazis, they did do, like their politicians, their presidents would do that. And he was like, but obviously with the Nazi came along, we decided, no, we don't want to be associated.
Because it was clear cut.
Yeah, and it was like, but I haven't seen what he says after that. So he might say, and that's why you don't do it, because it is, but I don't know.
Well, whatever he says after it, he's answered his own thing there. Do you know what I mean? He said it.
Yeah, but he's like, he's best mates with Elon, so he can't I mean, like, look, you did it. I'm not going to disown you. Do you know what I mean?
Thing is, though, like, and I say this in all seriousness, when you watch it, it's so clearly satire. I'm not saying I was right to do it. I was very much wrong to do it, and I put my hands up and say, even so as funny. A joke, I shouldn't have done it. It was
so funny.
It was
the look on your face when you'd realised what you'd done.
Because I knew I shouldn't have done it. Yeah, so it was like such an ill-informed joke. It was, and I will. Immediately afterwards, it didn't even take me 10 seconds to go, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Sorry. But
yeah, I was just sad. I was like, if only I could put it in a clip.
But when you watch it, it is clear. Like I said, I'm not defending it. I shouldn't have done it, but it's so clearly satire.
Yeah, look,
I call it my heart goes out to you salute and a Roman salute, and I joke about Elon.
Yeah.
It's so obviously I'm not actually doing it.
No.
But even still, even though it's clear I'm joking about it, I was very obvious I shouldn't have done it.
The double hand.
Yeah, it was just as bad.
Yeah, so like, but yeah, like, I don't know. I think we've always been like and it's a hard line to walk, a comedic current events. Like we try and find the funny in everything.
Yeah, and we push some quite dark humour at times. I'm not saying that because you know who says that?
Who do you think's more
the dude bros
out of the two of us? Because I think I know. But I'd be interested. I'm interested to know what you think.
I think consistently, it might be you, but
I agree.
I think just for short clickbaity moments,
it's normally
it's probably me.
Yeah,
I give you a good soundbite.
I think what it is with me, like, because I watch a lot of stuff, and I don't just watch my left wing
stuff. You watch YouTube?
Stuff.
There's a lot of good stuff on. Al has told me.
Much YouTube.
There's a lot to be learned.
But like, I'll sit and listen to a trigonometry, or I'll listen to Joe Rogan to talk to someone, or do you know what I mean? Like, and but in general,
I'll just say I'm not aware.
I find stuff really funny. Like when you were talking about that guy making comments about big women, I couldn't help but yell, "Well!" Do you know what I mean?
I'm not aware of the media outlet that is trigonometry, and I for half a second, obviously contextually, I got it.
Trigonometry
I got it. Contextually, it's some kind of interview setting.
Yeah, it's a podcast with two stand-up comedians. Now, it depends who you ask. Like, British comedians would say they're not stand-up comedians. They're failed stand-up comedians. but American would say they're stand-up comedians. But they're these two blokes that, and this is my issue with them, everything is a conspiracy to silence. And it's like, no, I just think we're trying to draw lines of what we are and aren't comfortable with. Where I agree with them is I think we should more be able to have an open, honest conversation about why we are doing those things or what's wrong about the other side.
I just for half a second thought you were really into maths.
No, I've never been into maths.
That's what shocked me. That's what shocked me.
Yeah.
You failed it twice. I only knew you failed it. Well, I thought you
this is an indictment of our education system, right? I failed it really badly the first time, like not great. I think I got an E the first time. I didn't revise. I'll be honest. And then everyone who failed from my year, when we then went into sixth form and we were doing resits, they went, I know what we'll do. We'll put them all, because we wanted foundation. We were all foundation fails. They put us in the higher set.
Oh, yeah. That's
so could you imagine how that went?
That's
one person from that class got a passing grade. I got a worse grade, surprisingly, than I did the first time.
Yeah, that's not good.
Because as soon as they did it, and then I think on top of it, we had a teacher that was off sick for like 6 months. So we just had a substitute every week. So it was just an absolute
shit show,
waste of time. So yeah, I think I got an F the second time round. So yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. I might as well have just written my name on the front and not done anything else.
I think, do you know what? Normally, I think that's probably the bit I got wrong the most in exams.
All right, show off.
Yeah, but like, did you know what I've always said? The thing that let me down was coursework. Exams were fine and coursework was shit.
I was the opposite way around. I could always do coursework. I was never good.
Couldn't focus on it. I never could do it.
I just hated revising. I just couldn't.
I never. I'm about to sound really arrogant. I never revised.
I know. I remember you saying. But that means you're probably naturally more intelligent, or at least more book smart.
Yeah, I just retain information. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with intelligence, I don't think.
I also think going to an all-boys school really didn't help.
Probably not.
But then saying that, you could equally say, but you were distracted by poontang.
I would have been if I wasn't such a nerdy little kid.
Now we're grown men to say that about us. Teenage girls.
I mean, I may have been interested in them, but I don't think any of them were interested in me, and I think that may have helped my course.
Though. Like, and if you think about it, like, girls develop so much earlier than we do that when you first became interested in girls, you were probably like baby-faced, like squeaky-voiced. Like, there's nothing appealing about that to a woman, and that's not criticising you. I was exactly the same. I don't think a girl was interested in me until I was like, I don't know, 18, 17, something like that.
You got to pass that line, haven't you? Are you attractive to a pope or a woman? You know, a priest or a girl. You just got to reach that line where you
not even a pope, just any priest, any religious official, apparently.
Any pastor.
Because more of them keep coming out, isn't there? There's someone else. I can't remember what church it was.
These pastors of youth. It's always
and
the youth
afterwards
pastors.
Like, I'm resigning because I don't want the stain on the church of.
And do you know what makes me laugh? Like, and I'm a big pusher of promoting mental health issues, and particularly men's mental health issues. But so many of them come out and claim mental health issues. Yeah. And it's like, when you're not getting sympathy, you fucking fiddle kids. Like, there's no.
To fuck children, is that
I'm
what
sorry,
you're saying?
We're not going to turn around and be like, we should feel bad for this man that touched children.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's not in the conversation.
He's afflicted with being what do they call him now? There's a new word for paedophiles. That's PC.
Is it Democrat? Is it Republican?
No.
House of Representatives.
It was something like minor attractive. They're an MAP. Minor attractive person.
No, that's ridiculous. It's paedophile's paedophile.
You're a pedo. You're a nonce.
Nonce is a good word as well.
Nonce is fantastic.
I think it's brilliant as well because the Americans don't use it.
No.
I think it's good that it's just British.
There's a British YouTuber called Nico O'Malana who's ran to be like London Mayor and stuff like that. He's really popular on YouTube. And he went through a stage of like meeting big American celebrities and doing a quick TikTok with them. And one of them was like a famous boxer. And he was like, my name is I'm a nonce. And he convinces them to like Saturday night. He got one of the most famous boxers in history to say I'm a nonce.
Brilliant.
And then the boxer found out.
It's the little things. If there's one group of people I don't want coming after me, it's probably boxers. Professional boxers.
Yeah. Even if you like offended Mike Tyson, that man could still rip me apart with his bare hands.
Can I talk to you a little bit about dangerous people?
Please do.
Or do you want to start talking about something you've got prepared?
I was going to in a minute, but please feel free.
Are you aware of the Oscar-nominated film Emilia Perez?
No.
There's no reason you should be.
I'm not aware of any Oscar-nominated films this year.
I'll tell you the plot of it.
Isn't Wicked one of them?
Wicked is one of them. I'll say that it's like part musical. I've seen a little clip. It's brilliantly bad, like actually laughably bad.
Is it about the creation of hot Cheetos?
Do you know what though? When I saw that film, I was like, wow.
I know, that's why
there's
I said
no
it,
such
because I know
thing.
you don't like it.
And now I sort of think I might watch it just because it's so bad.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, you've got to, right? No. So it's about a cartel in Mexico.
Is this the one with Sofia Vergara in? Was it the Netflix film?
No, it's not a Netflix film.
Right,
it's Zoe Saldana, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. I think,
and she plays a lawyer that has to mediate between this cartel. I'm not going to go through the plot, in fact, because it's almost pointless. But if at first glance you would go, "That's a Mexican film."
Yeah.
It's not a Mexican film.
Okay.
No Mexican people were involved in the filming of it whatsoever.
Cool.
In the writing, in the production,
Is it about
in the direction.
Mexican people though?
It's set in Mexico. It's about Mexican cartel. I'll tell you the plot. It's about a Mexican head of a cartel,
right,
who suddenly wakes up one day and is like,
I don't want to do this.
I'm trans. I need to be a woman.
Oh, okay.
So Zoe Saldana sets up. She goes to this place in like Laos or Cambodia or something. Has a brilliantly funny musical scene where she's talking to the doctor and he's like, "Man to a woman, or woman to a man." And she's like, "Man to a woman." He's like, "Penis to a vagina." And it's like just,
Jesus.
It's so bad. I'll find you the clip and send it to you. It's brilliantly funny, but not in a good way.
Do you think that sort of content doesn't help the trans movement?
Well, this is something that's come out of it. Trans people are horrendously offended by the movie because it turns out that in the end the cartel boss gets really violent and tries to kill his ex-wife because
even though trans people.
Yeah, even though they've left the wife and kid, they're like, no, I want to take them back, so like kidnaps them. It becomes a whole thing. The group of people who are even more offended by the film are Mexicans. They say it displays Mexico horrendously and it was disgraceful. And what I want to talk to you about is the response of the Mexican people.
What have they done?
So I can tell you that I don't need to Google who made this film because the Mexicans have done it for me.
Okay.
They've made their own film about the French, involving no French people.
Why the French?
I'm guessing it's a French filmmaker.
Okay.
So they've got the two main characters are both mimes with these moustaches, beret, stripy jumper, the full whack.
Yeah.
Every shot has baguettes, rats, just littered all over the place. I've seen a little clip of it. It's fucking brilliant. It is a proper parody.
Yeah.
And their whole thing is like, how do you like it, you fucking bitches? Shit, innit?
Yeah.
And I just think it's the perfect way to respond. Like, there's no campaigning. There's no, like, trying to get it cancelled. They just went out and was like, you make your movie, we'll make our own fucking movie. And I love it.
I would also say...
Also, the fact it's French is kind of funny.
Like, Mexico, I'm sure, has lovely people and lovely places, but it is also an incredibly dangerous place. Well,
that's one of the things that they wanted to say was that they think it's not taking the cartel threat seriously, and they think it kind of...
it's trivialising it, sort of thing.
It's a mixture of trivialisation, glamorisation, and downplaying. Well,
I was going to say, if they're worried about that, they must really hate narcos and things like that, because that definitely is glorified.
But they were like... they said every single person that this movie has portrayed has been offended.
Okay.
And so they responded by making this French film, and I, for one, am all for it.
I'm all for offensive comedy where we mock each other and we mock ourselves, and do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Emilia Perez, French movie. See if I can find an image of the... It's going to be on Twitter, isn't it? It's brilliant, though, anyway. It's just... it's a nice segue from Dangerous People... I mean, that's a clip of it, but I don't know if I can show you that. But it's like...
Let's see.
Everyone's dressed like that.
Okay.
And it's kind of...
Yeah.
It's not even the shot I've seen, but it's the shot with all the rats in it and stuff.
As well, or is it like a decent standard? Do you know
I can't say.
That's fair. No, look, I respect the Mexicans for taking action. I mean, look, they are in a really difficult situation with the drug cartels. They have so much money and so much power. Like, I've listened to podcasts where I've heard them talk about, like, the Mexican government will send the army in and the army gets repelled because the cartels
are too strong.
Have better weaponry and more men. You're just like, what?
Yeah, no, definitely. And
you know,
HSBC
got in trouble, right? Do you know what they used to do? I found this out listening to a podcast.
HSBC, the bank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had deals with the drug cartels to launder their money for them, and they got in trouble for it because you know how brazen they got about it. On their banks, they would have a side window on every branch in Mexico so that a cartel member could just drive up to that window. It's only them that could use it and just hand over bags of money, and the bank would go, "Thank you very much," and they take it.
Hey, banks are dirty. They always have.
Do you know what I mean? And I think they just got a nice chunky fine, and it was like, all right.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's so many crimes are only crimes for poor people because the rich people can afford to pay the fine. But for you and I, we can't afford to pay a fine. Sometimes we're not even offered a fine. It's just straight prison time.
Prison,
yeah, it's dirty.
So we had a good week on YouTube last week.
Yeah, we did. My favourite.
The episode. I mean, I hate it. I've talked before about the fact I really don't like having to clickbait episodes. But Elon seems to be the gift that keeps on giving.
We've not had a response like that since Brand.
No, 100%. It's been a long time. But even on the socials, it's not done as much as Brand, to be fair. But the episode itself has done very well. But it had a lot of responses.
It did. A few people went after my weight, which I was a bit shocked
I
at.
thought that was really unfair.
That's really,
to
really
say
not
that
cool.
you look like James O'Brien, James O'Brien, I think was really harsh. Because, like, we all know how you struggle with your body image. And
I've put on some weight.
Do you know what I mean?
That.
Like,
I'm back up to near enough where I was.
It's really unfair of them to shame you for that. But it was really funny because I hadn't checked the episode all week. And I was like, oh, I wonder how it did. And
I'm checking it now.
And at the time, because I don't know if you've been hearing about any of it, the Blake Lively situation and this guy, Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, it seems like the latest Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing.
Yeah, it is. And
I feel like they've set the precedent for it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend looking into the situation. I don't
Maybe, but the latest thing that came out that was trying to like tarnish her was that she used to fart a lot between takes, and it's like that cannot be.
No, there's a lot more.
I'm sure there is, but it's like my man.
Genuinely, because I didn't know who he was, so I've always liked Blake Lively, so I went into it sort of expecting
a little bit biased.
But from what I've seen, it seems like a lot of he said, she said again, like. But there is footage of them working together, and she said, and I didn't actually mean to get into this subject. I was talking about something else, but I've now forgotten what that was.
It's written down in front of you on it.
Yeah, basically, I was talking about the comments.
Yeah.
And as I was looking into the Blake Lively thing, I was actually, because I didn't know who he was, I found a podcast of him talking to Rainn
Wilson?
That's the one from The Office.
He's the only person I know that's called Rainn, and that's the only reason I was able to gauge that.
He has a podcast and he was on it.
Does he?
And he, look, obviously, my track record of famous men and what I think of them
it's not, honestly, it's almost
not to age well.
Almost a condemnation if you've actually said,
him in any way.
I like someone.
But I think...
That's why I'm glad you don't support me.
No, look, if any accusations come out about you, I'll just stay silent. I think it's for the best.
I think so.
But he genuinely, to me, seems like a nice bloke. And there's like...
they always do. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I would say your tendency is to assume the man's guilty. I would suggest looking into it before...
My tendency with this...
I don't know what's...
There must be something in it because it has gone to court, but then it's gone to an American court, and it's like...
it's all civil court.
It's a civil court in America. They'll take anything for money. I honestly, my thought, and like I said, I don't know a lot about it, is the whole thing's blown way out of proportion, and because they're celebrities, it's like, who fucking cares?
Basically,
that's my thought.
What
I don't give a shit.
Something happened, and we don't know what the thing is. She's accusing him of sexual harassment and things like that. And even the scenes she's mentioned in her civil suit of like, these are the scenes where he made me uncomfortable. There's footage of those scenes and everyone's watched them and gone, what's the, like, all the bits where he's about to get intimate, he talks to her about beforehand. He's like, I'm going to do this in a second. Are you right with that? And she actually turned down an intimacy coordinator for the film. And since it's all come out, her and Ryan Reynolds have basically ended up taking over the entire movie. And he's actually he owns a production company that bought the rights to the book that's now a film. And he wasn't even allowed to attend the premiere. He was in the basement with his family.
Do you know what's funny? Can I just say this because it's just a random thought? Because I'm currently reading as you know, has been well documented over the last years. I'm reading through the James Bond.
Yeah.
Spoiler alerts coming. So at the end of From Russia with Love, Bond dies.
Does he?
He's left to die. And
you don't know what happened.
The reason is no, you do. Well, you do, because the reason is Ian Fleming was like so fed up. He's like, these books aren't as successful as I want them to be.
Right,
I'm kind of done with them. I've taken it as far as I can. And the first few are quite gritty and grounded, and they're exactly up your street.
So I'm going to call you back to your take on the last Bond film.
Because then they come back for this
Because what
one.
was your reason for saying it was a shit film? I remember the reason.
Is it because they killed him?
Yes.
Yeah. No.
But Ian Fleming kills.
But
James
here's the
Bond.
thing, and it was set up so perfectly as well.
Yeah.
And then in the next one, he's back and he's been, and it just gets, and the whole plot just gets a little bit silly, and the characters get a little bit silly because he brought it back because suddenly the books had success.
So he had to just make shit up.
And so it was like, my man, you've really lost control of this. I don't know where the rest of them go, but this first one afterwards, it's like, bro,
Octopussy and
this is
like
this is Dr. No. So it's a man with metal hands who lives on an isolated island.
I've not watched any of the old stuff, so I know.
And as a man says in the intro,
like
he says, twice in this film, Bond has to fight off creatures from his dead genitals. So, like, there's one where they put a centipede in his bed.
Did you say dead genitals?
Off his genitals.
Oh, okay.
So there's a centipede in the bed, and it's like crawling up around his genitals, and he's like, "Fuck." And then the guy's like, "I really like this book," but he's like, "It is a bit silly that it culminates in Bond having a massive fight with an octopus who nearly gets his genitals."
Okay.
So it's just like the silliness after going from the grit, and it's like, do you know what? Actually, this is doing quite well. I'm going to bring him back, and he's going to have a scrap with an octopus. Anyway.
Maybe it's him in the afterlife.
Maybe. It's all just dreams. Anyway, look. Comments.
No, back to the Blake Lively
back to
thing
the
for a
Blake Lively.
second. Like, she's a bit, like, she's not quite...
I was about to say she's a big girl.
She's
but
we
can't say that.
No. Well...
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
She sent him a message, right? Because... Basically, apparently, she sent him... It all started to go wrong when she sent him some script ideas for a scene they were going to do. And then for the whole script in general. And he basically sent back, I love these bits. Not so sure about the rest, but would love the passion, would love to sit down and talk to you about it all. And she then sent him like a tirade where it culminated in her saying, if you ever watched Game of Thrones, you would know I'm Khaleesi. And that I have little dragons, and they're monsters, and that for better or worse, they're mine.
She says she has VD. Is that what she's saying?
I don't know.
Is that the hidden message?
I don't know. Like and then she invited him round to her because she was
cave.
Because at the same time they were filming, Ryan Reynolds was filming Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay.
And also then there was a huge break because of the SAG-AFTRA strikes, but. At some point, she invites him over to her like penthouse apartment.
I'll stop.
And Ryan Reynolds is there, and so is Taylor Swift.
Sure.
Because apparently, her and Taylor Swift were besties.
Are they the dragons?
I think that's what she's alluding to. And apparently, like since basically, like Ryan Reynolds has used his wealth to like wrestle the film away from him. And like if you look at the credits. Apparently, on a week's notice, they had to get the guy who was the composer for Deadpool and Wolverine for this film. I think it's called This Ends With Us or something like that.
It ends with us.
It ends
like,
with
yeah,
us. Yeah. And literally, he's been interviewed saying like, yeah, they asked me could I do it in a week, and he was like, no, I can't do the score for a film in a week, but maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah, give me a couple.
So he managed to do it, but like, and in the credits, apparently she had a screening with Bradley Cooper and Britney Spears and like all these other celebrities, because there was 2 edits of the film, his edit and Blake's edit, and I believe Blake's edit is the one
that's going to air.
That's been aired, yeah. But like from the sounds of things, I'm just going to be honest. From the evidence I've seen,
it doesn't look good for her.
No,
okay.
Like there is more substance to it than she fired on. But it's also resurfaced like old interviews with her where she's basically just like not particularly nice to people. Now look, everyone has bad days, but from the evidence I've seen, it very much looks like something happened between them, and she's then made
it's spilled over from personal to professional.
Yeah. And the accusation is, some people have said that they reckon she potentially made a move on him or like they got a bit too close, and then Ryan Reynolds found out, and then she's had to make stuff up to save her marriage. But the evidence points at least to the fact that it's bad for her rather than him.
Are we doing this because this is going to be our next clickbait thing that we get people jumping on and having a go at us for?
It wasn't.
It just came up naturally, and you have an interest.
The reason I wanted to mention the Blake Lively thing was because I was watching the interview with Justin Baldoni, where it was a really nice conversation about masculinity between him and Rainn Wilson. And I might send it to you because I think it'd be you might like it actually. But I was listening to that, and then I saw all these negative comments where men were like, because they were literally talking about that men can't be vulnerable with one another because we're afraid of other men taking the piss out.
That's why I like our friendships.
Well, yeah, but like,
and I'm not good at it. You and I know that very well. Yeah. But
look, no one is. It's difficult. But I thought it was funny that I was watching that, like listening to like men need to be nicer to each other whilst we're getting slated by men in comments on a video because we don't like Elon Musk.
The thing is, I think I only read I think there were only about 6 or 7 YouTube comments when I read them, when you directed me to them. Went on TikTok, read the TikTok ones. There's not nearly as many, which is a shame.
There is one person that's tried to defend us in the comments.
Yeah, no, there's in YouTube.
Yeah.
There's one on TikTok that kind of tries to defend us. But I definitely I'm going to go back and read them. You know when the Russell Brand thing.
You loved it.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Do you think there's a number we could hit, like, say we went viral, and like on every video we were getting that level of abuse? Like, what would the number need to be, do you think, before it started actually negatively affecting you?
In the millions, like, because genuinely, I don't care about people I don't meet. I've never met these people. I'm never going to meet these people. They can sit in their bedrooms, wank themselves dry, and say whatever they want about us. Yeah. I don't care.
I think that's I think until you're experiencing
not that I don't care.
It. Do you know what I mean?
No, but it's so funny because it is such small numbers.
I think it's worse if you're also getting recognised when you go out because you're thinking to yourself, how many of these people that recognise me are the ones saying horrible
At the moment, I do read it and it does put a smile on my face.
Yeah, it does. Like, at the moment, we've got 30 comments. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's massive for us, but like in the grand scheme of things. Because no one comments.
People watch. They listen.
Can't even get our mates to like the episodes. Do you know what I mean? It's
actually annoying. It's like, just go on it. No, 5 seconds, opened it up and click like. You don't even have to wait for the fucking...
I don't want to be that guy that's like, I'm putting it in the group chat.
No, we're never going to be those people.
We did it initially just to get that initial bit of support.
But we did say we won't be doing this.
Yeah. But yeah, like, guys, come on, man. Like,
that's what this whole thing was about. It was a big plea.
To like the episode.
No, but I love it.
She's a busy lady, but still.
I love it. Yeah, genuinely. I can't believe...
Oh,
I can't find it.
And the other thing that came out of the comments was we saw a new term that we'd never heard before.
Yes.
Like, someone started off by saying, like, Britain's the biggest exporter of soy. And that we were a couple of, we're very soy.
Now, I told you what, because you've got the answer.
I do know.
So shall I say on air what I said to you, what I contextually believe soy to be? I believe soy to be a synonym for woke, I believe, because soy is used as like soy milk, and it was one of the first big things where it was like, can't even have milk, Nigel Farage, where I just want a proper bit of British milk, and it's like, hotel mate, fucking calm down, right? I just want my cow to be coming in going, oi moo bruv, I'm a British fucking cow. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what he wants out of this.
No, fucking chocolate milk, the real stuff.
Oh my God, I still can't believe some people think chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Anyway.
You're not far off.
I think that's what it means contextually. And the fact that Britain is the biggest soy export, I think that means he's saying we've got people like James O'Brien, and we've got people like Graham Norton, and we've got people like Carol Vorderman, and that we're going out into the world and going, we're so woke. Please illuminate me.
You're not far off, but it's not quite that. It's more, we're weak. We're lacking meat.
We're lacking substance. We're lacking protein.
Because they said, like, we were afraid to say a woman was attractive. It's like, how did you get that from what I said, by the way? But basically, they're saying...
I tell my missus she's attractive all the time.
Because we're soy, like, we're...
Sorry.
It's all right. Because we're soy, we're lacking meat. We're not...
Okay,
we're soy. There's also a term soy boy. We'd be called soy boys.
I've actually did an advert online where I called myself a soy boy.
We're not masculine. That's more it's more a literal sort of.
Yeah, okay.
They think we're basically like sad little betas, basically.
I quite like a bit of soy sauce, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A bit of sushi and a bit of soy sauce.
What the
Lovely.
fuck is wrong with you? Sushi's rank.
I'm cultured.
No,
Get with it.
You're not cultured.
I am cultured,
No.
actually. I'm very cultured.
You're just a dickhead with a guitar.
Same difference. Same difference.
I couldn't call you a see you next Tuesday. That is the famous line, but
listen. I forgot what the point is. Yeah, no, I like the comment.
But
I really do.
Yeah, I do think it's sad, though, that men not wanting to just objectify women, you know, and they take that as they're afraid to objectify women. It's like, no, we're just being conscious of the fact women don't just want to be seen as their physical attributes.
I've always seen
Just
it the
as
same
we
way.
do.
Like, people are people, first
Yeah.
and foremost, and that might be the most soy thing I've ever said.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I want to connect with people on a personal level as people before I
Yeah.
ever see them any other way.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If I see someone like as a heterosexual man, if I see an attractive woman, I'm gonna look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not.
That's what I said to you, like, when you were talking about, like, you didn't notice the receptionist's
Well, no, but she was
breasts.
in uniform and she was sat down. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't out there flaunting it or anything.
She wasn't shaking them in
She
your
wasn't
face.
dressed up. She wasn't wearing anything particularly provocative.
No.
Her breast just happened to be big in this uniform. So
So
never.
you did notice them.
It never occurred to me to look. I'm told.
Yeah.
Because I just saw.
But
yeah.
like, one of the great things about Leanne is there's times where, like, she's not your
Oh
wife.
no, she's no. You're right. Sorry.
Um,
One of the great things about Leanne.
nice.
Continue.
Is that, like, we've been out together and someone's had like a revealing top on,
And she'll be the one.
and she'll say something to me, and I'm like, I fucking love you. Like, it's fantastic. Because we're all like, even women look. Do you know what I mean? It's not, but it's.
I hear
about-
women frequently
if
look
you're
when you walk past.
Mate, you know, come on, stop it.
I can't find it.
Soundbite.
I am, and I know
See,
exactly which one I'm
you
looking
see how
for.
easy it is to flounder now, don't
I know
you?
exactly what one I'm looking
It's
for.
so easy to lose yourself in all the sound bites.
Shh. Shit, I'm gonna fucking have a fucking thing.
Start having
She
a
call me
panic.
Mr. Bombastic, tell me fantastic. Touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Roll.
I think
Do you
that's
reckon
what.
we're the only podcast in the world that has that on their soundboard?
No, we can't be.
I reckon we are, you know. Who else is playing Mr. Bombastic? Like, maybe once, but they're not playing it again.
it's a
That's had
classic.
some use.
It's a classic.
There was a soundbite earlier. Do you know what we need on the soundboard? Brother,
Oh, brother,
Classic BBC. That.
brother,
trying to stay relevant, trying to
Like,
stay
anytime
young.
you mention someone like Boris Johnson or the Dean Tories, like, just brother,
Still can't believe
What's
I
that?
thought that people I knew had created that.
Did you? Who did you think created it?
When I went on the training trip for this,
Oh, what people were
People
doing
were
it.
doing
So you
it,
thought they'd made
and they were
it
going,
up.
brother, and I just thought it was an in-joke that someone had made it up and it had stuck.
Yeah.
And then about 3 months after the training trip, I saw, maybe like 2 months, I saw the video.
Yeah.
I was so let down. I was so disappointed. I was like, oh, that's a piece of popular
You
culture.
thought you were part of history.
That's a piece of popular culture that passed me
You
by.
thought you were part of pop culture
Um,
for a moment.
Anyway, yeah, no, I love the comments. I genuinely, every time we do one and we get a couple of hateful comments, I get really excited.
Yeah.
It gives me a semi just to see those comments flooding in, calling us tofu
You're
eating
wanking yourself
wokerazzi.
off with right-wing tears. You're lubing
They
yourself
make the best
up.
lube.
Yeah. I respect it.
It's not even like the right. It's because it's not even a left or right wing thing. It's
Just a dickhead thing.
with the Elon thing. It's people defending a Nazi salute, and you're like, right, you've got to understand
Yeah.
that's not left or right wing. That's deranged.
Yeah.
That's Nazism. That's
Yeah.
far right wing.
I think definitely one of the things that's probably made me look controversial over the years is that as someone like Elon starts their descent further into like right-wing nut jobness, like at times I go, yeah, but like,
You're trying to.
do you know what I mean? Like, because, and it was similar to a
You're not
degree with-
defending it, but you're
no,
trying
you're
to.
like, but like maybe there's this other sort. No, he's just a dickhead, isn't he? He's just not a nice.
He's been. What's the
Yeah.
word? Extremised. That's not a word. What's the term I'm looking for? Radicalised.
That's the one.
He has been radicalised. But with the Elon thing, it's people defending a Nazi salute, which is not good.
And
with the brand thing, it's people defending a sex a sex pest, and it's like because they're almost like basically they might as well be admitting. If that's sexual assault, then I've done sexual assault, and it's like, no, you've done sexual assault. Then, like, that's
if you forced yourself on women, then yeah,
like I make those jokes. I'm not sexist. Like, no, you are. If that's you need to understand that if that is, you are.
Yeah, if you go, the one for me that I'll never forget is finding out about that Savile interview.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? When you see that, you just
so it's like for me when we talk about Sakir, or when we were talking about Rishi when he was in power and stuff, and people come on and go one way or the other, that is political. That's left and right wing. That is right wingers attacking us for our left wing views, or more attacking me for my left wing views, generally speaking. But stuff like that, I don't consider it to be right wingers going after us. It's like, no, there's lots of people on the right, particularly centre right, that I might completely disagree with, but are not going to defend a Nazi salute, or that are not going to defend sex, rapists. They're not going to go, rape isn't that bad,
Yeah. I do wonder what people think they're achieving when they do it, though. Do you know what I mean? Are they just trying to put you off doing it again? Do you know what I mean? Because, like, for me, like, the whole reason we put a clip out or a thumbnail of Elon Musk or, clickbait or anything like that is because we want the interaction.
They're giving it to us.
Yeah, and so, like, in my head, I'm like... Because sometimes when I see right-wing stuff, it will pop up on my feed. I'll feel tempted to comment, not to start... insulting the person's appearance, but mine would be make a counterpoint. But even then I'm like, no, I'm doing exactly what they want.
But what was I going to say? It's
just tribalism, isn't it? Like,
well, I wonder whether I know we've already had them from Brand, but I wonder whether we'd have had the same comments. I know it happened at the inauguration, so he'd already won. I wonder if we'd have the same comments and the same level of brashness from these people defending a Nazi salute if Trump had lost.
No,
because on either side of the Atlantic, I have noticed people feel a certain amount of emboldenment on the far right with Trump's victory.
Well, yeah, you will,
and they will. I wonder whether it would have changed.
The only thing that would have changed maybe would be the volume of those defending it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, perhaps
it might just be less. But I think what we've seen is definitely parts of the media be fucking desperate to.
What we'll talk about the media, one thing that I saw this week that really pissed me off was that, and I realise it's the type of show, but Nigel Farage was on this morning and they were basically asking him really trivial questions about life in general, and they sort of skirted onto politics, but they didn't talk about politics.
He's the leader of a political party. He's a sitting MP, and to not ask him about...
And it was like, the fact you keep giving him this free ride is the fact, and he sat there and I say now, and I said to you at the time, I hope the producers hang their heads in shame. I hope they rot in hell, and I hope they burn forever for what they've done to this country and the path they've set this. No, but with the people on I'm a Celebrity who brought him on, Hancock were even more so than Farage. Because he's basically said, like, Celebrity helped me because it made people see me.
Yeah.
That it humanised me.
They're doing in a very dark way what we do by clickbaiting Elon Musk, in the sense of they're getting him on for the views. They know people are going to watch.
But then they're not grilling him. Do you know what I mean?
Totally, I agree with you. But sadly, you're not going to have any journalistic integrity on This Morning. You're just not. And look,
although he did say one very interesting thing about Tommy Robinson.
What, that he doesn't agree with it?
Not that he says. He says Musk sees him as a champion of free speech. He says, but I see him as someone. He says the thing that worries me. He says he got us talking about grooming gangs, and he said I think we should be. It's like the biggest scandal in our lifetimes. He said, but what concerns me with Mr. Robinson, Tommy Robinson, he said what concerns me with him is his views on Islam. He says it's like he wants to go to war with everyone who's of the Islamic faith. And he says I don't think that's right. He says, and also he's got a long stretch of illegality, and therefore I can never show.
As long as your arm.
And I thought that's interesting because Musk's obviously championing, but you're making a quite clear distinction. Even though a lot of your supporters will support him,
and you're making a very clear distinction. The only reason that will be, as much as I'd like to give Nigel Farage credit for disowning Tommy Robinson,
it'll be a political move. It'll be
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Tommy Robinson has no credibility. If it was someone else that didn't have a rap sheet, that wasn't so clearly actually violent towards Islamic people, because I've listened to Muslim creators who have tried to have a peaceful dialogue with Tommy Robinson, and he'll say, "Okay, cool, you come to me here at this rally that we're doing."
Be completely intimidated,
and they'll show up and they get attacked.
Yeah, at best intimidated.
And
at
where's
worst
Tommy
attacked.
Robinson? He disappears into the night like he always does. He whips the crowd up and fucks off. He did it in London.
Does it everywhere.
Yeah. So the guy's a scumbag.
Anyway.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't know. Let me see what's on my to talk about list.
Oh, I see.
You've got some stuff. That's
there was.
It.
Have you heard about the latest Just Stop Oil thing?
Was this the performance with the Susan Sarandon play? It was a Shakespeare play.
No, that wasn't that. No, that was it Susan Sarandon? I thought it was Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, you're right.
Which looked really weird, by the way. There was someone coming out of the stage in a gimp suit, by the looks of things, in like S&M gear.
Yeah, but I told you when I wrote that play that it's structurally important. It's got a plot point.
I think you'd be a bit Tarantino as a creative, in the sense of he does
What,
randomly really weird and like borderline psycho shit. Like, for example, have you ever seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
Not in its entirety. I've only ever come in like halfway through.
A role into that film
where he drinks from
Salma Hayek's foot
because he has a weird foot thing, and we all know that.
Inglourious
It's not weird, but he has a
foot
foot thing.
Do you know the scene, spoiler alert, where Bridget Van Hammersmark gets strangled to death? Those are his hands.
Yeah.
Because he didn't believe Christoph Waltz would be able to do it properly.
Yeah.
He just does like, I feel like you'd be a bit like that.
No.
Don't kill her like that. Do it like this.
I'm going to kill you now. Shh. Don't struggle. No, in fact, struggle more.
And look, some of the best creators are dark fuckers. There's a great monologue by...
I don't know where this is going. It's part compliment, part insult.
Matt Damon talks about Jack Nicholson doing, is it The Departed?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's a gangster. And there's a scene, he said...
Where he deliberately tries to throw everyone off to make...
he's like, there's just one page of... Like, and they're executing this woman. And he said, he shoots her in the head and she falls, and Jack Nicholson isn't in the script, just goes, she fell funny.
Yeah.
And he's like, and it's sinister because he shot so many people that there is a way that people's bodies fall, and he noticed that one was...
And he's not feeling guilty, he's just picking up on the
like,
peculiarity of it.
And you can leave it there, but if you keep the camera rolling, and then he just makes it darker and darker.
Yeah, and goes on to talk about like rape and stuff.
It's like, where did the fuck... Yeah, he was like, I might fuck her again.
Yeah.
And it was like, again, that's sinister because one, he's going to fuck a dead body, but also that means he probably forced himself on a...
And it keeps the tension amongst the other cast going as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very clever.
So I keep going off on wild.
I might be really talented, but I'm also a sick fuck.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I think like you would be on the border of like creative genius and madness.
Look,
we've talked about with greatness tends to come a bit.
I think you're just saying that because every piece of writing I've ever sent you has featured a gimp, and I think you're just
not just that. It's the bloodstains on the paper that worry me.
Yeah, but it's important,
and they're not the only stains.
No, and they're not mine, but it's very important to the tension of the piece. It's art.
Yeah.
What we're talking about?
We were talking about Just Stop Oil, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, go on. No, I haven't seen their latest thing.
One of their members had their house raided and was arrested for a year before talking about taking part in a demonstration at Heathrow.
Right, okay.
And he's been arrested and he's going to be jailed. So he's going to do jail time for talking about taking part in the event.
I've said to you before, whilst I appreciate that, particularly the knock-on effect of a runway demonstration is
I mean, that would cost
bad.
A lot. That would be bad.
It would be impactful, but it would 100% be right to punish those who do it. And this is coming from me, who's a big...
Well, there's terrorist implications that come along with stuff like that as well, isn't
when there? When you look at... I know I've said it before, but when you look at... Not to just bang on, but I am going to use some extreme cases. And I know he's served his sentence. But there's a man currently sitting in the Houses of Parliament who laid hands on his partner, who's now in the Houses of Parliament.
His foot on her head.
And this bloke serving prison time because he talked about doing a thing. Worse than that, I know it's not a violent crime. Nigel Farage's nephew has been in the news this week because he upskirted a woman.
Yes, I did.
And he got a financial fine. Whereas this guy's going to prison for talking about I might take part. I might join a even if it is illegal, it's like you can monitor it.
The police were not friendly either. It was quite a hostile interaction, to be honest. And he stays completely calm, and Obviously,
No, I think the police have a clear agenda against Just Stop Oil because the government have a clear agenda against because the newspapers and the media have a clear agenda.
And the thing is,
you want to be seen as coming down on them.
And I think what worries me the more it goes on is they're using Just Stop Oil as an excuse because they are controversial and they're not very popular to get through any means of like
the protest bills and stuff that the Tories pushed through. Yeah.
By going like, but you don't want your holiday ruined by these dickheads, or you don't want your trip to London.
And it's good, and it's easy for us to go, no, you're right, Just Stop Oil protest. I mean, like I said, I've always been supportive of them, but it's easy to go to people, we're going to put harsher things in place because you don't want these, and you people go, those Just Stop Oil dickheads are ruining it. But it's not the implications are, actually though, if we take away all your rights at work, you get no sick pay, no maternity, no paternity leave, you get no right to a fair trial, not a fair trial, but a fair tribunal if you're unfairly dismissed. You don't get any of that stuff. You don't get any holiday pay. We're going to reduce you to like 1 week holiday a year. All of that stuff. Yeah. We're even going to remove in the contract that if we dismiss you, we've got to give you 4 weeks notice or something. We can do it right. You're out. Get out today. And you go, actually, do you know what? I'm going to protest. And they go, that's the thing though. We're now going to arrest you for it because, Yeah. And I know that's an extreme example, potentially unlikely, but that's the implication. That's the ramification.
That's worst case scenario.
I know it sounds dark and conspiratorial, but they're certainly when the Tories pushed through that protest bill and the policing bill and stuff. The whole point was they were about to drag us back centuries, but decades in terms of workers' rights. Yeah. They were about to make the standard of living drop. And they already were making the standard of living drop horrendously. Yeah. Water companies getting away with absolutely murder. Gas energy companies getting away with absolute murder. These things that we rely on to live. Yeah,
that should just be really.
And they know if
we're being honest, basic human rights.
If they keep pushing people, there's going to come a point where people push back. So what they wanted to do was make it illegal for people to push back. We all know that's what. It sounds conspiratorial, but to me, I'm not going to say we all knew. To me, that's what it was. That's what it looked like.
And the big word that's frightening me at the moment, I keep hearing the word deregulation. Mm. That's what I keep hearing.
That was the whole point of Brexit.
Yeah, and I hear it. You do hear it a bit from Labour when you hear stuff like we want to turbocharge the economy.
Deregulation has never benefited anyone.
Other than the wealthy.
Other than the shareholders.
Other than the wealthy. And I was even thinking about, because they were saying unless, we deregulate, big businesses aren't going to invest. And it's like, I remember when I was younger, we had thriving high streets and we had, you could still get access to everything. Everything was more affordable. There was more options. Whereas now, because of companies like Amazon, the high street's dead. And actually, business and the country is suffering because we've allowed huge conglomerates to exist.
Because the freedom of the market has benefited.
And then they're pretty much as free as you can possibly get. They're paying no tax. Shit workers' conditions. Like Amazon will just lay off warehouses of people because they can afford to do it, and people are so desperate for jobs that they can have people being thrown out and people will be queued up for a job at that warehouse. And I'm hearing, we need to deregulate again. It's like, fuck, we've learned nothing.
Also,
and I don't believe Sir Keir Starmer doesn't know that's wrong, or that Rachel Reeves doesn't know that's wrong.
Talking about deregulating, where are these businesses going to go? They've only really got, on the world stage, 3 options. You go to the Chinese market, the Asian market, predominantly the Chinese market.
The American market.
Which is pretty much state-owned and state-governed. You're not getting in there without that.
There's no, their version of, the FTSE 500, their top companies, I think are 50% owned by the Chinese state.
Or you can go to America, where admittedly it's a free-for-all, so the big boys are going to thrive right now, and even more so in the coming years.
And the level of wealth we're talking about.
Or they leave the UK, and the closest place that goes to the EU, which is far more heavily regulated than Britain anyway. Yeah. And we're talking about stripping it. So where are they going to go? They're still going to come here. So I think that's absolutely ludicrous that it's going to scare big business off from investing. And like we said, the deregulation has only ever benefited the shareholders of companies. It has never benefited the people working for the customers, for the companies. It's never benefited the customers, and it's never benefited the market, because the quality of things get worse and the price of things go up. That's all that happens. And let's face it, the standard of living in this country right now is not great. So the quality of things we're getting is not good.
Alex talked about it when James Watt said that British workers are the most like.
And I agree 100% with you.
Because it's like, if you look at our country at the moment, why should you
said
fucking
on that
work
you
your
said
arse
on
off?
that podcast, and I couldn't agree more. I was practically nodding my head up and down and going yes, cheering when I was listening to it, because it's a very emotionally evocative podcast. This, I think, and it gets people provocative. It gets people going. No, because you said, and you sort of touched upon it as well as saying, but when we were kids, the idea was you work hard, you grow up, you get your own place,
have children
because you've got your own place, space to do that. Then by the time you retire and your kids have grown up, you've not got to worry about, there's going to be things you have to build, you have to worry about, but you've not got to worry about a roof over your head.
Pension.
You're not going to worry about a roof over your head because you've already paid that off. Admittedly, paying it off might come from the death of your parents, but getting on the ladder didn't.
Yeah.
You know, parents didn't have to die, so you could get your foot in the door.
Humongous deposit to get on the property.
So you get a property, you retire. Like you said, you've got a good pension. You've got a good. The public pension coming your way is going to be enough to keep you the basics, and it'll be tight at times. But then also you've probably got a private pension that will top you up, and you'll generally be all right. And also because you've got your own roof over your head, you've not got to worry. You've not got to go to work. You're then in a position where you can help with the childcare for your kids, so that they can continue the journey you continued on, so that they can go and work and make sure that they're still provided. But that's not happening now. No. We're not having kids because we can't have our own places. We don't have our own places, so we don't have any assets. And that's the thing. People, the old adage, people become more right wing as they get older. You become more right wing traditionally as you gain more assets. Yeah. So suddenly you've got more. You want to protect more. Suddenly the right wing values look to protect what you've got, and you think, oh, actually that looks quite good. But we're not getting those. No. People our age, we're in our early 30s. People are our age, older. People are like late 30s, early 40s. More and more people still living with their parents. And that's not going to change anytime soon unless the market changes. You know what's not going to help it is deregulation of the fucking market.
I've talked about him before. There's an economist I listen to called Gary's Economics.
Pensions keep getting cut as well. Yeah. Like what? There is nothing.
My pension's been cut recently.
There's nothing. There's no point working hard because I'm going to reach 60, 70 years old, and whether I've worked hard or not worked hard, or whether sat on my arse and done a half-assed job, I'm still going to be working. I'm probably still going to be renting. There's no position that I'm going to be in that's going to be. Oh no, fair enough. My parents die.
Yeah, I mean, I won't.
But then what happens a generation from now, when my parents die, they were in a generation where they were able to afford it, and it was tight. They could afford a property. They die. I inherit the property. I know I've got a brother to split that between, but let's just keep him out the picture for now. We'll deal with him later.
He's mysteriously disappeared.
Skateboards on stairs, that kind of thing. Yeah. No, but like, let's just say it's me. I inherit the house, and that means I can either live there or I can sell it and buy my own house. I suppose that does work, but then I was going to say, what happens is when I die, slowly but surely the assets get slimmer and slimmer.
Basically, because my parents would have used more than one child.
My parents would have used their parents' houses to pay off their houses. Yeah. But I can't use my parents' house to pay off my house because I've not got a house. I'm using their house to just start a house. Yeah. So then I'm still got a mortgage to pay. So and my kids will end up inheriting that.
Longer, so how long are you going to wait for
I just think maybe not next generation, but if it carries on like this, 3-4 generations down the line, it's going to be, there's nothing even for the kids to inherit.
Well, this guy, Gary's Economics, he talks about one of his most recent predictions is he actually thinks the housing market, particularly in places like London, is going to double in value.
Yeah, probably.
Because he was like, the problem is, the richer the rich get, they're only competing with themselves. Because as you just said, they're not buying homes. Working class are not buying homes unless they've got a leg up from a parent, like for the deposit or something like that. And we've known people who have had that advantage, and they've still worked incredibly hard, don't get me wrong.
But they needed that. It wasn't that but back in the day, and maybe even before our parents, money from your parents or your in-laws was a great bonus, but you didn't necessarily need it. You could still work hard and get on that ladder. Yeah. Now, you cannot get on that ladder without it. No. You just can't. You and I can work as hard as we want. We're never saving enough money
and the more expensive things get, the less possible.
I know there's schemes and stuff, but
like, when I hear that, and the thing is, like he's been right about everything else I've heard him say. So I'm like, so fuck, so that is going to happen. And then that terrifies me because me and Leanne are looking to rent in the next year. So that would mean the rents are going to go up dramatically, potentially double.
Yeah. And
in this area, for a 1-bedroom flat, you're looking at, if you're lucky, 1,200. Most of them are north of 1,350 a month. And that's before your council tax, that's before your bills on top. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your food.
We said before, which means
clothing yourself.
You have to have a partner.
Yeah.
Or there must be two of you.
Said you couldn't live on your own. It'd be impossible to live on your own.
There has to be two of you, and you're willing to share a room.
Yeah.
And you both have to be working.
Yeah.
Which again, if you and Leanne, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna have it here with me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
If you and Leanne have kids,
yeah.
Let's say you do rent a place, and she's then got to take a year off for maternity leave, or even just 6 months, 9 months. You can't afford 6 to 9 months on maternity pay, topping up your pay. You need 2 full wages coming in.
So to be honest with you, and that's what I've said on the pod before, there's a good chance.
Yeah, not to rehash old.
Don't have children.
Not to rehash old trodden ground, but what you said last week, it's there's no incentive to work hard at all.
No, there isn't.
What were we talking about that got us here?
I think it started off with Just Stop Oil.
Yeah, I never even found out what their latest protest is.
No, neither. I don't know what it was. I just saw the same clip you did of
the play.
And I'm pretty sure it's called
The Tempest. I think it was a production of The Tempest.
I literally saw it in passing.
Yeah, they're an easy scapegoat, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're an easy one to push things through on.
But yeah, and then at the same time, big businesses are talking about struggling financially. Like, for example, all the supermarkets are cutting jobs or cutting benefits. Or
Speaking of supermarkets, by the way, there is one thing I wanted to talk to you about at a supermarket.
Go on.
It's just been the residents just tried to block it and it got overturned. So a Lidl shop in Dundonald in County Down.
I thought it won its Supreme Court battle.
Yeah, no, it did. It won. So you're aware of this. Wants to open an in-store pub.
I don't know. A what?
They want to open an in-store pub.
Oh,
they want to open a pub.
Aware. I didn't know what they were fighting over.
No, so like they've looked at it and they've gone, right, do you know what? Some of these supermarkets have like cafes and stuff.
Right.
Let's have a pub. I think that's quite clever because, one, it appeals to the British sensibilities. Yeah. We love a pub. I know pubs are closing, young people. But also, if you go and have a few drinks, you're far more likely to go and buy shit in the shop.
Especially down that middle aisle.
Middle aisle is going to be like...
yeah, that's genius.
If you're not even steaming, if I've had 3 or 4 pints and I go down that middle aisle...
What would you think of someone...
Like, who their local was a Lidl?
Like, we know people that live down the pub.
But also,
if they said to me, if I said to them, "Oh, where's your local now?" Because it changes for people, and they went, "Oh, I now go down to the Lidl." I'm gonna think less of them.
It's gonna cause arguments because couples are gonna be looking at their phone. They're gonna do track my phone. And they're gonna be like,
"Yeah, but
you were in Lidl for like 4 hours, and you're like, I just couldn't find
the cucumbers.
Couldn't find the bread I wanted. Yeah, I know we like that really.
I was waiting for the delivery to come in.
Yeah, they said it was going to come in, and I thought I'd wait. But you didn't come back with any shopping bags. Well, I forgot. I was there so long. I got chatting to people.
Imagine failing to come home with shopping. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't know. I kind of like it. It's like Lidl have fully embraced the British culture now, even though I know Northern Ireland is contentiously British.
Yeah, they'd rather not be.
Well, certainly parts of them would rather not be. But large parts would, so contention. Yeah. But yeah, I like the idea that Lidl were like, why not have a pub? It might be a failed experiment, it might not work, but I think there's something in that.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, but doesn't. It feels wrong. I'm going to be honest with you, it feels wrong.
Oh yeah, no, if you drink...
I don't like the idea of going shopping and there's really sad looking... drunk old men that have nowhere else to be because Lidl are selling £1 pints. Do you know what I mean? Or
listen, it won't just be the sad old men if they're selling £1 pints.
Look, I think that's a trick. Make it as
cheap as possible.
Yeah.
Like I said, you've got to see that as you've got to not see the pub, I think, as a money maker in itself. The pub can make a loss where you're making the money back.
It's a loss leader in business.
It's a loss leader because people are going to get drunk and then go and buy shit in the middle aisle.
Yeah.
They're going to go in and be like, do you know what?
Snacks afterwards.
Yeah. And they're going to go, how many packets of ham do I need?
If they did kebab ready meals as well, people would buy it.
If they had a little hot counter.
Mate.
I mean, the little bakery is a good bakery as well. So.
They are decent. They're not great. They're okay.
It's hit and miss, but the stuff that hits
they
really hits.
Yes. They do a toffee yum yum when I'm in the mood.
The sweet stuff is really good. The savoury's hit.
The pizza's okay. I tried.
Yeah, the savoury
London,
meh. But the sweet stuff's really good.
My new idea for Lidl.
Sure.
They should also have a kebab shop inside.
Yeah, I'm game.
Do you know what I mean? A kebab counter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it has to be a Turkish guy because otherwise it's not authentic. They need to only I know that's discrimination, but I want only Mediterranean men behind that counter. I don't trust it. If you walked into your local kebab shop and saw anything other than a Turkish looking man or a Greek looking man, so that's why I said Mediterranean. I wanted to be like non-discriminatory. But like I've never seen a woman in I don't know if I would trust. Have you?
Mm.
I have never seen a female behind the counter of a kebab shop.
Twice. Once was really disappointing.
Man. Or any man
once was fine,
not Mediterranean.
It was just a normal kebab shop encounter. But once
you want
I did
chili
go in,
garlic mid?
I did go in. Me and Adam, you and Milky Bar Kid, after a night out around Christmas, and like we were like,
who's the Milky Bar Kid?
This is his friend.
No.
You'd know if you saw him, I think.
Okay,
but we were like, should we just go to the kebab?
Did he come Kingston with us?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
But we were like, let's just go to the kebab shop across the road, and they only had chips. Because it was like right near closing. It was like, you can't be a kebab shop and not have kebab. The reason I'm here is because I've just spent the last few hours in a pub.
Yeah, I now need
And now
kebab.
I want kebab.
There is a phenomenal kebab shop not far from here that used to be a haunt on the way home.
Is it Seb's?
Yeah, a Seb
special.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Makes me want one now.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
I just want some meat. But going back to supermarkets for a second, Jake, because we went on.
Sure.
That like Sainsbury's has cut 3,000 jobs, despite the fact they're set to make a record profit this year. Tesco have cut 300 jobs. Morrison's has cut jobs. And they're all claiming it's because of stuff like the national insurance increase and things.
But it's
like
not
that.
really, because Sainsbury's had announced these plans for cuts.
But all of them,
like a year and a half ago.
yeah, are making
Can't speak for the others.
huge profits.
Yeah.
And this is what annoys me. Like you'll see, like Tesco's is going to make 400 million profit this year, and it's like, then why the fuck are they cutting jobs? Just make
200 million profit.
And we've
yeah.
said it so many times. It's this obsession with you have to have made more than you did the year before, and that's why.
And
they
it's at
have
our
to
expense.
have deregulation, because they've exhausted. Like unless they just double the price of everything to fuck us, really. There's not much more they can do, so they have to find it.
I mean, I'm always a big fan of that meme that's used with Tesco's. You know, when Nessa charges like 60 quid for a...
I saw that.
But I love that one when they're like, $2.99, and it's like, I haven't got a club card, actually. It's like, fair enough, 60 quid.
And like, club cards are the biggest rip-off. Like, they're the most fake thing on the planet. Because what they're saying is, you give us your data and we'll give you X amount of money off. And basically what they're telling you is, this is how much we could
afford to sell it at this and still make profit, yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't give us your data, we're going to charge
I
you
actually
even
do
more.
a whole thing when I do trips in Britain about it, because I say it's a fucking con, it shouldn't be allowed.
Do you get a lot of foreigners, do you?
Well, they're all like Australian, American, New Zealand. So what I do is I just screenshot my...
What do they think of the country when they go around? I'm fascinated by what someone from abroad
Well,
might think.
generally they only see the nice bits, so they don't...
Right, so
they're not
it's
living
beautiful.
here. And they go to some really
But,
nice
like,
places.
Do you ever go through somewhere like Croydon? Not to rag on
No.
Croydon, but do you know what I mean? But do you know somewhere like that?
No,
looks a
we
bit-
go Oxford,
Okay,
which is
yeah.
like this old historic university
just
town.
think the
We
rest
go
of the-
York. We go Edinburgh.
beautiful places.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
We do a night in Glasgow, which is a bit ropey.
I've never been, so I couldn't comment.
I always do the same thing. I always just say, let's go
I
to the
just know
comedy
they've
club.
got very aggressive handshakes.
Yeah, the old Glaswegian handshake. That took me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh, aye.
but I don't know what the fuck we were talking about.
I think we're at the end, bro. Let's face it.
Do you mean just like life, or
No, just the episode.
just this episode?
Just this episode.
We're just at the end.
Yeah. I've sort of enjoyed it recently, whether it's been with you or Alex. It's been more like I've not been as obsessed with my notes. Like I'm just Do you know
letting it flow.
Yeah,
letting me. Happens. You mentioned supermarkets are cutting,
and we start talking about pubs.
And I'll talk to you about a pub in Lidl, and we'll go off for 10 minutes.
And then we're opening kebab shops. Do you know what I mean?
I've always look, just to quickly bring it back. Me and Tony years ago, and this is the thing, right? I know I think I can't remember if I spoke about it on the pod, but I've definitely spoken about it off air with you before. That I found out when I left my last place of employment that I'm an ideas man. I come alive when I'm coming up with an idea, and as soon as it comes to executing, I'm like, I'm done now. So me and my mate used to just come up with all these business ideas, and it was like one of my favourite parts. I didn't even realise till I left. One of my favourite parts about being there, just us shooting the shit and coming up with these business ideas. Yeah. Never, once you start looking into it.
But I love the idea of a food truck. I don't know what I'd make on it, but something like sandwiches, but really good.
Well, one of the last ideas we came up with was mobile escape rooms. You take it to like weddings, birthday parties, things like that, and you just have an escape room there. We could hire it out as corporate, and you could be like, you want to find leadership material, stick them in there, see who takes control. But anyway, no, the one that me and Tony came up with years ago, and it was always like, no, there's something we were because this is when we used to.
You want to say it on air?
Well, we used to go out drinking every weekend.
Yeah,
and we'd usually go Weatherspoons, Revs.
That's it.
Pretty much. I've seen some dirty shit in Revs.
I've
seen some horrendous things in Revs.
Was with Dave and Tony. And just, I can't remember what the girl said to Dave, but it was something like, "Oh, you're too old," or something like that. And it was like,
he's like 17.
Yeah. It was like, why? How old are you?
But we had this idea. We were like, let's open a nightclub.
Okay.
And let's have 2 additions to it at the front. 1, taxis. So you have your own in-house taxi service.
Right.
So you, even after everyone's finished in your nightclub, you're still making money off of them.
Yeah.
And whilst they're on their way to the taxi service or waiting for their taxi, chicken shop.
Yeah. Well, insert
basically
takeaway.
You've what you've catered for there is you pre-drinks and the pub, that's someone else's business. But once they reach you, you've got them all the way through to when they step into their own front door.
Like it.
So even when because you and I used to know, sometimes we go on a night out just because we know we could go to a chicken shop on the way home, like KFC around the corner. We used to check what time KFC was closing.
So we knew what time to leave.
Yeah, and we plan it around it. Yeah. So I think if you get that's still an idea that I still think has got some legs in it.
I agree, mate. I'm on board. And guys, we'd love to know whether you agree. And Jake, gesture at the screen for us.
I've been playing with this the whole time. Sorry,
That's fine. Back. You can find us at Crossing Swords on Facebook.
I'll cough it out.
At Swords Crossing on TikTok and Instagram at CrossingSwords_podcast. And you can email us at CrossingSwords19@gmail.com.
And can I just say there's no better time? So the link... In the description of the episode, wherever you're listening to, whether you're on Apple Music, Spotify, whatever, other are available, Castbox, whatever, I don't know what else we're on. If you go in the description, you can find a link to the YouTube episode. If you go to the YouTube episode, go to our channel, find the one about Elon Musk. I think it's called We All Know What Elon Did or something like that.
Yeah.
Go on there and you can see the comments we were referencing earlier.
Yeah.
And you can like the video and give it and just piss them off even more.
Yeah.
Or join in.
Just say we love soy or something like that.
Yeah, always like soy. Soy and sushi.
Yeah. But guys, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.